The Boston suburb of Brookline was considered one of the most prestigious areas in Massachusetts. It was here, in a Victorian house with a white picket fence and a well-kept garden, that Emma and Alex Martinez lived, a couple often referred to by their neighbors as perfect. They met 6 years ago at a charity event organized by Carson Pharmaceuticals and got married just 1 year after meeting. Emma Carson Martinez worked as the head pharmacist at Brookline Health, a small but respected pharmacy that had been serving the local community for over 30 years. Tall, with chestnut hair pulled back into a neat bun, she was known for her attention to patients and her deep knowledge of pharmacology. A graduate of the Massachusetts College of Pharmacy, Emma never aspired to work for large corporations, despite her family connections. She preferred direct contact with people, the opportunity to see the results of her work, and the feeling of belonging to the local community. Alex Martinez was the complete opposite of his wife. Ambitious and extroverted, he quickly rose through the ranks at the modern design architectural firm. Specializing in environmentally friendly construction, by the age of 35, he was already heading a department and was responsible for several significant projects in Boston, including the renovation of a historic library and the design of a new wing for the city hospital. His Spanish roots were evident not only in his temperament, but also in his passion for detail in his work. Alex and I complement each other, Emma often told her friends. He pushes me out of my comfort zone, and I help him to sometimes stop and just enjoy the moment. Their home, built at the beginning of the last century and carefully restored by Alex, became a real center of attraction for friends and colleagues. Friday dinners became a tradition, and summer barbecues in the garden gathered up to 20 people. Everything seemed harmonious: a successful career, a strong marriage, plans for the future. But 13 months ago, an event occurred that disrupted this idyll. Diana Carson, Emma's mother, died from complications after a stroke. The sudden death of the woman, who was barely 58 years old, was a blow to the whole family, but especially to Michael Carson, Emma's father. After the funeral, Dad changed, Emma told her colleague Susan. He had always been strong and in control, but now he seemed to have lost interest in everything. He even handed over control of the company to the board of directors, even though he had always said he would only retire in a coffin. Michael Carson, founder and CEO of Carson Pharmaceuticals, a medium-sized company specializing in the production of drugs for autoimmune diseases, began to cancel family gatherings more and more often. His daughter's calls went unanswered for days, and when he did show up at Emma and Alex's house, he seemed distracted and distant. Michael, at least talk to a therapist, Emma suggested during one of her father's rare visits. It's okay to ask for help. I don't need help, Michael replied sharply, his eyes focusing for the first time that evening. Just give me some time to sort things out. These things remained a mystery to Emma. After her mother's death, she had to take care of a multitude of practical matters, from organizing the funeral to sorting through Diana's personal belongings. Michael insisted on quickly selling the family home in the prestigious Back Bay neighborhood and moved into a small apartment closer to the company's office. Family gatherings attended by both Michael and Alex became particularly awkward. There was now a palpable tension between the two men, who had previously found common ground discussing business strategies and architectural projects. So when are you planning to have children? Michael asked during Christmas dinner, breaking an unspoken taboo. After 3 years of unsuccessful attempts, Emma and Alex decided to take a break from the issue. We're focused on our careers, Michael, Alex replied, without looking at his father-in-law. Besides, the current project takes up all our free time. Of course, your careers, Michael muttered. There are always reasons to put off what's important. Emma noticed how white Alex's knuckles had turned as he clenched his fork, but the incident was hushed up. However, moments like this began to happen more and more often. That evening, after returning home, Alex worked late in his office with the door closed. Unusual behavior for a man who usually preferred to discuss even the smallest details of his projects with his wife. Did something happen today? Emma asked when her husband finally came out of his office. "Nothing special," Alex replied, avoiding her gaze. "I'm just tired of your father's constant hints. Sometimes I feel like he blames me for us not having children. He misses his mother," Emma sighed. "Maybe he dreams of grandchildren to fill the void." Alex just nodded and changed the subject. But Emma noticed that in recent months he had been staying late at work more often, sharing fewer details about his projects, and sometimes talking on the phone in a low voice, stopping the conversation when she entered the room. Gradually, something new crept into their relationship. Unspoken words. Questions remained unanswered, strange coincidences unexplained. Emma began to notice details that had previously escaped her attention. How Alex tensed up when her father's name was mentioned, how the expression in his eyes changed when the conversation turned to his family's past, his childhood in Chicago. Once, while sorting through things in the garage, another box of her mother's belongings that her father had given her with the words, "You need this more than I do," Emma found an old photograph of her parents. On the back was her mother's handwriting. "M and I, Conference in Chicago, 1987. Chicago, 1987. The year Alex was born. Coincidence? That night, looking at her sleeping husband, Emma made a decision. It was time to sort through the family documents, letters, photographs, anything that might shed light on the strange behavior of the two most important men in her life. Boxes of Diana Carson's belongings had been lying untouched in the basement of Emma and Alex's house for a year. "Someday I'll go through them," Emma kept saying, but day after day she put off this painful task. On that sunny Saturday morning, when Alex left for an unscheduled meeting with a client, she finally made up her mind. Emma methodically sorted through the contents of the first two boxes: photo albums, several jewelry boxes, stacks of old greeting cards, banal family heirlooms, nothing that could explain her father's strange behavior or the tension between him and Alex. In the third box, hidden deeper than the others, she found a sealed envelope marked "Personal, Do Not Open" in her mother's handwriting. Usually respectful of personal boundaries, Emma hesitated for only a second. Fear for the present overcame her respect for the past. Inside the envelope was a stack of letters dated 1986 to 1988, addressed to Diana. They were all signed simply, "With love, D." Emma recognized some of the dates. They coincided with her father's business trips. Had her mother kept her husband's love letters all these years? The first few letters confirmed this hypothesis, the usual words of love and longing for separation. But the further she read, the more Emma felt something was strange. D wrote about feelings of guilt, about how M suspects nothing, about the unbearable double life. D was not her father. D was her mother's lover. Emma struggled to keep back the nausea. The perfect image of her family was crumbling. With trembling hands, she went through the rest of the letters until she came across the last one, dated February 1988. "Dear Diana, what happened in Chicago changed everything. I can't continue our relationship knowing that M has offered you a fresh start. The child deserves a complete family, and I must step aside. Lauren knows nothing about us, and let it stay that way. I will watch your lives from afar, but our paths will no longer cross. Goodbye, my love. D." Emma reread the letter several times. Chicago, February 1988. About 9 months before she was born. Was she the daughter of Michael Carson, or this mysterious D? And who was Lauren? The sound of a key turning in the lock snapped Emma out of her stupor. Alex had come home earlier than usual. "What are you doing?" he asked, peering into the basement and seeing Diana's things scattered everywhere. "I finally decided to sort through Mom's things," Emma replied, trying to make her voice sound natural. She discreetly hid the letters under an album. "Today? We were supposed to go to the Morgans for dinner." "I forgot," Emma lied. This had never happened before. She had always been organized, punctual, reliable. The last few months had changed her. "Are you okay?" Alex looked at his wife intently. "You've been different lately." "I could say the same about you," Emma replied. "We've both changed." The tension that had been invisible between them for the past few months became almost palpable. Alex was the first to break the silence. "I finished the project ahead of schedule. How about we skip dinner and just talk? It seems like it's been a long time." The suggestion caught Emma off guard. It would be ideal to find out what Alex was hiding, but the letters she had found a minute ago had overwhelmed her emotions. "Not today," she replied. "My head is too full right now. Let's go to the Morgans and take our minds off things." Alex nodded, but Emma noticed the disappointment in his eyes. The evening at Alex's colleague's house was spent in tense politeness. Emma kept up the conversation and laughed at the jokes, but her thoughts were far away. When Steve Morgan started talking about the restoration project in an old neighborhood in Chicago, she couldn't help but tense up. "You're from Chicago, right, Alex?" Linda Morgan asked. "Which neighborhood?" "Yeah, the suburbs," Alex replied vaguely, and quickly steered the conversation toward the technical aspects of the project. On the way home in the car, the silence became unbearable. "You never talk about your childhood," Emma said suddenly. "In 6 years, I've only met your mother twice." Alex gripped the steering wheel tighter. "There's nothing to tell. A normal childhood in the suburbs, a single mother who worked around the clock." "But you had friends, right? A first love? School stories?" "I did," Alex replied curtly. "But that's in the past. I prefer to look to the future." "Since when did you become so secretive?" Emma couldn't hold back. "I feel like I'm living with a stranger." "Since when have you been so interested in my past?" Alex retorted. "For 6 years you were fine with me not dwelling on the past, and now suddenly it's a problem?" They drove the rest of the way in silence. That night, like many before it, was spent in separate bedrooms. The next morning, Emma called work and took the day off. After waiting for Alex to leave, she returned to the letters she had found. The name Lauren wouldn't leave her mind. Turning on her computer, Emma opened social media and typed in Lauren, Chicago, 1988. Thousands of results. Adding Carson, she found nothing. Then she remembered her mother's maiden name, Hill. Lauren Hill, Chicago. Among the results was a page belonging to a woman about the same age as her father. Looking through the photos, Emma paused at one, Lauren Hill in front of a building with the Carson Pharmaceuticals logo. The caption read, "My career began here 25 years ago." Emma's heart skipped a beat. Lauren worked for her father's company, but that wasn't the most shocking thing. In a later photo, Lauren was pictured with her adult son, a young man who looked strikingly similar to Alex. "With my son Alexander at graduation," the caption read. "Proud of you, architect." Emma stared blankly at the screen. Her husband, Lauren Hill's son, born in Chicago around the time her parents were there. An architect. It couldn't be a coincidence. Struggling to control her trembling, Emma continued her search. She remembered that she still had access to her father's work email. He never changed his passwords, considering it a waste of time. Logging into his account, Emma searched for Lauren Hill. The system returned dozens of results from recent years. Most of the emails were strictly business, but some, especially those sent late at night, contained strange phrases. "Remember our agreement. He must never find out. The money will be transferred as usual." The last message, sent just a week ago, contained only one sentence. "They're too close. Meet me at the usual place." With trembling hands, Emma opened her father's bank statement, to which she also had access. Every month for the past 30 years, a significant amount had been withdrawn from his personal account. The recipient was a trust fund in the name of LH. Emma remembered her parents' conversations, which sometimes fell silent when she entered the room. The tension that arose whenever Chicago was mentioned. her mother's reluctance to discuss the time when she worked as a secretary in her father's company. Everything fell into place. The secret, carefully guarded for 3 decades, now lay before her, laid out in pieces like a dark puzzle. Lauryn Hill worked at her father's company when he began an affair with her mother. She gave birth to a son, Alex. Michael, upon learning of his wife's infidelity, suggested they start over. Diana became pregnant, possibly not by her husband, but by her lover, Dee. Meanwhile, Lauryn raised Michael's son, receiving monthly payments for her silence. And now Emma, possibly the daughter of another man, was married to her father's son, her stepbrother. The room suddenly began to spin. Emma barely made it to the bathroom before she threw up. Sinking to the cold tile floor, she burst into tears, for the first time since her mother's death. The ring of her cell phone snapped her out of her stupor. It was her father's number. Yes? Her voice sounded hoarse. Emma. Michael's voice was unusually soft. We need to talk. You already know, don't you? The cafe by the waterfront, 3 p.m. Michael wrote in a message after the call. Lauryn will be there. Emma didn't reply, but she knew she would go. The 4 hours before the meeting passed in a blur. She canceled all her plans, telling Alex on the phone that she wasn't feeling well and would be meeting with her father about her mother's inheritance documents. A half-truth that had become their new norm of communication. The Atlantic Cafe was located in a quiet corner of Boston Harbor. Michael was already waiting at a table in the far corner, nervously tapping his fingers on a cup of cold coffee. Next to him sat an elegant woman in her 60s, with gray streaks in her chestnut hair and a straight posture. Even from a distance, Emma recognized her from photographs. Lauryn Hill. Emma. Michael stood up when she approached the table. Thank you for coming. I had no choice, Emma replied coldly, sitting down opposite them. Not after what I found out. I'm Lauryn, the woman introduced herself, extending her hand. Emma mechanically shook it, noting the immaculate manicure and expensive jewelry. I've wanted to meet you in person for so long. Strange, considering you seem to have arranged for me to meet your son. Emma didn't try to hide her bitterness. Lauryn glanced at Michael, who sighed deeply. Emma, we never planned for you and Alex to meet, he began. It was pure coincidence. A terrible, fateful coincidence. Coincidence? Emma smiled bitterly. Of all the people in Boston I met and married my stepbrother, don't try to convince me you didn't know. Of course we knew, Lauryn said quietly. But not right away. Only when Alex brought you to a family dinner and Michael saw you. And you didn't do anything? Emma struggled to keep her voice steady. You let it continue? We were trying to have children, for God's sake. Michael wanted to tell you, Lauryn continued, but I begged him not to ruin Alex's happiness. He had a difficult childhood without a father, and you became the best thing that ever happened to him. Without a father? Emma repeated. But his father is sitting right here. The awkward silence confirmed what she already knew. Michael looked away. I was never officially with Michael, Lauryn said quietly. It was a brief affair when we worked together. I was a young secretary. He was a rising star in pharmaceuticals. A cliché story. Diana, your mother, found out, Michael added. It almost destroyed our marriage, but then she confessed that she had had an affair too. With Dee, Emma said. I found the letters. Michael nodded. David Thornton, my business partner and best friend. We decided to forgive each other and start over. Lauryn was already pregnant by then, but we agreed to keep it a secret. And when was I born? Emma asked bluntly. Who is my real father? Michael and Lauryn exchanged glances. We don't know for sure, Michael admitted. Your mother never said, and we were afraid of the truth, whatever it might be, so we didn't do a DNA test. But I've always considered you my daughter, Emma. You are my daughter in every way that matters. Emma felt tears welling up in her eyes. Her whole life, her identity, was in question. What about the financial payments? She asked, changing the subject. I saw the bank transfers. You paid her for 30 years. It wasn't just hush money, Michael sighed. I wanted to provide for my son, even if I couldn't acknowledge him publicly. Alex's education, his first apartment, startup capital for his career, all of that came from that money. And now what? Emma asked. You both know that Alex and I are that our marriage is illegal, Lauren finished for her. Technically, yes. Morally, undoubtedly problematic. But Alex doesn't know the truth, Emma. He doesn't? Emma was shocked. How is that possible? I never told him who his father is, Lauren replied. He thinks his father died before he was born. He has no reason to suspect that you are his half-sister. Emma leaned back in her chair, trying to process the information. So all these lies, all these secrets, are for our happiness? Do you really believe that happiness can be built on such lies? Neither Michael nor Lauren could find an answer. I need to think, Emma said, standing up. And I need some time alone. Don't call me. She left the cafe without looking back. Her head was spinning from the overload of information and emotions. Instead of going home, Emma headed to her father's office in downtown Boston. She still had the key and the alarm code, the last privilege of the CEO's daughter. The Carson Pharmaceuticals building looked empty. It was Saturday, and most of the employees were off. Emma walked to the elevator, went up to the top floor, and entered her father's office. She didn't know exactly what she was looking for, but she felt that the answers were somewhere here. 3 hours later, after looking through dozens of files on her father's computer and breaking into his safe, the combination was her date of birth, a bitter irony. Emma discovered much more than family secrets. The secret folder labeled Project Lazarus contained reports on clinical trials of the company's new drug, an immunomodulator for the treatment of autoimmune diseases. According to official documents, the trials had been suspended due to insufficient efficacy. But internal reports told a different story. 7 deaths, dozens of cases of serious complications, falsified safety data. Michael knew about the problems, but hid them from regulators and investors. What's more, a modified version of the same drug was now in the final stages of approval under a different name. My God, Emma whispered as she looked through the documents. As a pharmacist, she understood the seriousness of the violations. Her father hadn't just hidden a family secret, he had knowingly endangered people's lives for profit. Among the documents was another surprise: correspondence between Michael and David Thornton. It turned out that D had not disappeared from their lives, as the letters suggested. He had become a secret investor in Carson Pharmaceuticals, receiving a significant share of the profits through offshore accounts. The last letter was dated just a month earlier. Emma photographed the key documents and sent copies to her personal email before leaving the building. Her world was falling apart, not only personally, but professionally as well. The man she considered a paragon of business ethics turned out to be a criminal. When Emma returned home, it was already dark. Alex was waiting for her in the living room, his face a mixture of concern and irritation. "Where have you been?" he asked. "I called your father. He said your meeting ended 5 hours ago." "Are you checking up on me?" Emma asked wearily. "Are we keeping tabs on each other now?" "I was worried." Alex raised his voice. "You've been acting strangely these past few days, disappearing without explanation, rummaging through old documents. And you." Emma suddenly felt years of pent-up emotions bursting out. "You've been lying to me all these years, about your origins, about your connections to my family." "What are you talking about?" Alex looked genuinely puzzled, but Emma no longer believed his acting. "I know who your mother is, Alex. Lauren Hill, my father's former secretary." Alex froze, his face turning pale. "Where did you—" "And I know who your father is. Not some dead stranger, as you've been told your whole life. Your father is Michael Carson. My father." Alex sank into a chair, as if his legs had suddenly refused to support his weight. His reaction was too genuine for someone pretending to be surprised. "That's impossible," he whispered. "Mom said my father died in a car accident before I was born." "She lied," Emma said, feeling her anger give way to compassion. Alex really didn't know. "We met today. She, me, and our father." "No!" Alex jumped up. "This is some kind of sick joke. Why would they lie to me my whole life? Why did your father never—" "Because he's a coward," Emma said bitterly. "Because reputation and money have always been more important to him than the truth. He paid your mother to keep quiet for 30 years, Alex. And when we met by chance and fell in love, they decided to continue the deception." "We," Alex stammered, realizing the horrific reality. "You and I are we." "Stepbrother and stepsister," Emma finished. "Our marriage is invalid, Alex. And all these years, when we tried to conceive a child—" "My God!" Alex slid down the wall to the floor. "Is this true? Are you sure? Maybe it's a mistake? A misunderstanding?" "I've seen the evidence. Bank transfers, letters, your mother's confession." "My mother." Alex shook his head. "I have to talk to her." "There's something else." Emma sat down next to him. "I was at my father's office. He wasn't just hiding our family connection. His company falsified the results of clinical trials. People died, Alex. And he's going to release the same drug under a new name." Alex looked at her in shock. "Are you sure? That's a serious accusation." "I have proof," Emma nodded. "And I don't know what to do now. With this," she pointed to the documents on her phone, "and with us." "We need to talk to them," Alex said decisively, standing up. "To everyone. Our father, my mother. I want to hear the truth from their mouths." "Alex, it's late." "To hell with the time," his voice echoed through the house. "They stole 35 years of the truth about my origins from me. And now I find out I married my own sister? No, Emma. We're going to see them. Right now." His eyes burned with a fire Emma had never seen before. At that moment, Alex looked more like Michael Carson than ever, with the same stubborn expression, the same determined jawline. "Okay," she agreed. "Let's go." Cold November rain pounded on the plastic sheeting that the police had covered the section of forest in the Blue Hills Wildlife Sanctuary, 20 miles from Boston. Detective Rachel Donovan arrived on the scene 40 minutes after the body was reported. Despite 20 years on the force, she still felt the same chill down her spine when she saw a murder victim. "What do we have?" she asked, approaching the medical examiner bent over the body. "Female, approximately 30 years old, preliminary cause of death, multiple blunt force trauma to the head," Dr. Parker replied, looking up. "Death occurred approximately 36 to 48 hours ago. Documents identify her as Emma Carson Martinez." Donovan leaned over, carefully examining the victim. Despite her injuries, the woman's face looked peaceful, as if she were asleep. Perfectly manicured nails, an expensive wedding ring, high-quality clothing, everything pointed to her belonging to the upper middle class. "Who found the body?" Donovan asked the nearest officer. "A morning jogger. He noticed something unusual near the trail and called 911. His dog is trained to search and led him to the body." "The car?" "A Toyota Prius, registered to the victim. It had been parked at the entrance to the reserve for 2 days. Rangers were about to tow it away when the call came in." "Any leads?" "Nothing obvious. Her purse was with her. Money and credit cards were there. Phone too. Doesn't look like a robbery." Donovan slowly walked around the crime scene. The body was 300 yards from the nearest trail, in thick undergrowth that was bare now in late fall, but could completely hide a person in summer. It wasn't a random spot. Someone had chosen it deliberately. "Check the phone, contacts, recent calls," she ordered, "and prepare a search warrant for the victim's home. Who is the husband?" "Alex Martinez," the officer replied, checking his notes. "Architect, works at Modern Design. He reported his wife missing yesterday morning." "He's our prime suspect," Donovan nodded. We always start with the immediate circle. Notify him and bring him in for questioning. Alex Martinez looked like a man who hadn't slept in days. Unshaven, with red eyes and trembling hands, he seemed like a shadow of the successful professional whose photo stood on the table in his and Emma's home. "Mr. Martinez," Donovan began, sitting down across from him in the interrogation room, "please accept our condolences for your loss." "Are you sure it's her?" His voice was hoarse from unshed tears. "Are you sure?" "The identification is preliminary, but all the details match. Documents, description, clothing. We need you to formally identify the body." Alex nodded, his gaze empty. "Tell me what happened the night Emma disappeared," Donovan asked, turning on the tape recorder. "We had a fight," Alex began, licking his dry lips. "Emma found out something shocking about our family. It's personal and has nothing to do with her death." "I'll decide what's relevant to the investigation, Mr. Martinez," Donovan said calmly. "What was the conflict about?" Alex ran a hand over his face. "Emma discovered that we are related, that her father, Michael Carson, is also my biological father. We are half-siblings." Donovan kept a neutral expression, though she was shocked inside. "And how did Emma react to this discovery?" "She was shocked, of course. We both were. It was like a nuclear explosion. Our whole life, our marriage, everything turned into a lie. We decided to go to Michael's house and demand an explanation." "And what happened next?" "We went to his house, but he wasn't there. Emma was furious. She was screaming and crying," Alex faltered. "Then she decided to go to Lauren's, my mother's." "Did you go together?" "No. Emma said she wanted to talk to Lauren alone. We argued about it, and she left by herself around 11 p.m. That was the last time I saw my wife." "What did you do after that?" "I tried to call her all night. Then I called Lauren and Michael. No one answered. In the morning, I went to Lauren's house. She said Emma never arrived. Michael said the same thing. Then I filed a missing person report." "Did Emma have any reason to leave? Maybe she wanted some time to think, to be alone? After such a shock?" "Maybe. But she would have told me. And she wouldn't have gone into the woods alone at night. Emma was afraid of the dark." Donovan made a note in her notebook. "Mr. Martinez, where were you on the night your wife disappeared and the following day?" "I know where you're going with this," Alex said bitterly. "The husband is always the prime suspect. But I didn't kill Emma. I loved her, despite everything." "Still, where were you?" "At home, all night. Then I went to Lauren and Michael's, as I already said." "Can anyone confirm your alibi?" "No," Alex admitted. "I was alone." Donovan sent a team to interview the Martinez's neighbors. The results were not long in coming. Mrs. Phelps, who lives across the street, reported hearing a loud argument at around 10:30 p.m., Detective Rodriguez reported. According to her, they were shouting so loudly that it could be heard on the street, even through closed windows. What exactly did she hear? A woman screaming, "You ruined my life," and a man saying, "You're not telling anyone." Then a door slammed, a car started, and drove away. About an hour later, another car started, this time his SUV. "So Martinez lied," Donovan said thoughtfully. "He wasn't home all night." "There's something else," Rodriguez added. A security camera at the Johnson's house, 3 houses down, caught Martinez's SUV leaving the yard at 11:42 p.m. and returning at 2:17 a.m. "Direction?" "Toward Blue Hills," Rodriguez replied. "Not directly there, of course, but in that direction. Check the cameras at the service stations, the traffic lights along the way, and get a warrant for his car's GPS." Donovan returned to the interrogation room, where Alex was still waiting, clutching a paper cup of cold coffee. "Mr. Martinez, you lied to us. You left the house after Emma left. Where did you go?" Alex turned pale. "I went to look for her. First to Lauren's, then to Michael's. No one was home. I thought maybe they were all meeting somewhere." "At 1 in the morning? And why didn't you mention this trip earlier?" "I panicked. I knew how it would look." "It looks like you lied to the police during a murder investigation, Mr. Martinez." "Murder?" No, Emma must have committed suicide, after what she found out. The medical examiner thinks otherwise. The nature of the injuries is not consistent with suicide. Someone struck your wife multiple times in the head. Alex covered his face with his hands. I didn't kill her. I swear on everything that is sacred to me. While Alex Martinez remained at the station, Donovan and his team began examining the victim's home. Emma's desk in her small home office was neatly organized, folders with documents labeled by date, a laptop, password protected but with Emma's fingerprint, which had been obtained at the morgue. Check her email, Donovan ordered, especially the last few days. The technician quickly accessed the computer. In Emma's inbox, he found an email she had sent to herself an hour before her disappearance, with a dozen attachments. What's this? Donovan asked, peering at the screen. Looks like financial documents, medical reports, some internal correspondence, the technician replied. All from Carson Pharmaceuticals. Project Lazarus. Donovan read the title of the first document. What the hell is this? For the next 2 hours, she immersed herself in studying the materials. The picture that emerged was shocking. Carson Pharmaceuticals, led by Michael Carson, had concealed the deadly side effects of a new drug, falsified reports to regulatory agencies, and was preparing to relaunch the same drug under a new name. That's the motive, Donovan muttered. Emma discovered that her father was a criminal. Among the documents was Michael Carson's will, which had been changed just a month ago. According to the new version, Emma was deprived of a significant portion of her inheritance, which was transferred to a special trust fund managed by Lauryn Hill. Notably, Alex Martinez was not mentioned in the will at all. Check Martinez's financial situation, Donovan commanded. Loans, debts, major expenses. The team continued their search, and soon Donovan had a printout of bank statements in front of her. Martinez has a mortgage on his house, several credit cards with large debts, and, most interestingly, a recent transfer of $250,000 from Michael Carson. The date is 2 weeks ago. It could be hush money, Donovan said thoughtfully. Or... She was interrupted by a call from the team working at the crime scene. Detective, we found the murder weapon, a garden trowel with a wooden handle. It was hidden in the bushes near the body. There's blood on it, and presumably, fingerprints. Great. Send it to the lab immediately. At that moment, another officer called her. Detective Donovan, Mr. Michael Carson is here. He insists on meeting with you. He says it concerns his daughter's murder. Donovan looked at the photo of Emma and Alex on the mantelpiece in the living room of their home. A happy couple against the backdrop of the sea, unaware of the secrets that would destroy their lives. I'm on my way, she replied. And bring Martinez back. I think he's ready to tell us more. Michael Carson looked exhausted when Donovan entered the interrogation room. The once powerful head of a pharmaceutical company sat slumped in his chair, his hands visibly shaking. Next to him was his lawyer, James Warren, a well-known defender of elite clients. Mr. Carson, Donovan began, sitting down across from him. You wanted to talk about your daughter's death. Yes, Carson's voice was hoarse. I think I know who killed Emma. My client is here voluntarily, Warren interjected. He is willing to cooperate. Who do you suspect? Donovan asked, turning on the tape recorder. Alex Martinez, Michael replied. He had a motive. Emma found out something that could have destroyed his reputation. You mean the fact that he's your son and Emma's stepbrother? Michael flinched. You already know. We found documents on your daughter's computer, not just about family secrets, but about Project Lazarus. Michael's face paled. The lawyer put his hand on his shoulder, but Carson brushed it away. Project Lazarus has nothing to do with the murder, he said firmly. This is a corporate matter. 7 people died during the trials, Donovan countered. You hid this from the regulators and were preparing to relaunch the same drug. That's a crime for which you could get life in prison. Detective, we're here to discuss Emma's murder, not bring charges against my client, Warren interjected. These cases are connected, Donovan countered. Emma found out about the trial fraud. That's a motive for her elimination. Absurd, Michael exclaimed. I would never harm my daughter. It was Alex. He was afraid of a scandal. Interesting, considering that you transferred $250,000 to Alex 2 weeks ago and changed the will, depriving Emma of her inheritance. Michael fell silent, exchanging glances with his lawyer. We're done, Warren said, standing up. My client tried to help, but you clearly have a bias. One last question, Donovan said. Where were you on the night Emma disappeared? We have witnesses who say you weren't home that night. I have nothing more to add, Michael replied after a pause. I demand a lawyer for any further questioning. In the crime lab, expert Jenkins examined the garden trowel found near the body. Anything? Donovan asked. Quite interesting, Jenkins nodded. The blood on the tool belongs to the victim, but the fingerprints are more complicated. How so? There are clear prints from 3 people on the handle. One belongs to the victim. The second is Alex Martinez's. Not surprising, if it's their garden tool. Yes, but the third print is the most interesting. It belongs to Michael Carson, and it's on top of the others, including the bloodstains. That means Carson held the shovel after the victim's blood got on it. Do we have GPS data from Carson's car? Just came in, the technician nodded. On the night of the murder, his car left the Back Bay area at 11:20 p.m. and headed for Blue Hills. It returned at 3:40 a.m. He was in the same place as Alex, Donovan muttered. Check the cell tower data. I want to know if their phones crossed paths. An hour later, Donovan had all the information. Michael and Alex's phones were in the Blue Hills area within 20 minutes of each other, but they did not cross paths. Alex had left before Michael arrived. Emma's phone last connected to the network at 11:05 p.m. in the same area. The answer came unexpectedly, from the forensic scientist who had examined Emma's clothes. Detective, we found fibers on the victim's jacket that are identical to the material used in Michael Carson's suit. It's an expensive fabric used only in premium suits. Get an arrest warrant, Donovan said decisively, and another one to search Carson's home and office. Look especially for clothing with traces of blood. The police operation at Carson's mansion was carried out early in the morning. Carson himself was arrested while attempting to board a private plane at a small airport. A passport in another name and $100,000 in cash were found in his luggage. The search of the house yielded the last piece of the puzzle. A safe with a blood-stained jacket was found in the basement behind a false panel. DNA analysis confirmed that the blood belonged to Emma. When Donovan entered the interrogation room for the 3rd time, the atmosphere had changed. The arrogance had disappeared from Carson's posture. Before her was a broken man, cornered by the evidence. Mr. Carson, you are under arrest on suspicion of murdering your daughter. You have the right to remain silent. I'll tell you everything, Carson interrupted her. Everything, from beginning to end. The lawyer sitting next to him turned pale. Michael, I don't recommend it. Shut up, James, Carson hissed. Everything has its limits. I'm tired of running. He turned to Donovan. Yes, I killed Emma, but it's not what you think. It was mercy. Donovan silently turned on the tape recorder. Emma called me after her fight with Alex. She said she was going to Blue Hills to think things over. She was desperate. She found out that her husband was actually her brother, that her whole life was built on a lie. And on top of that, she found the documents about Lazarus. Did you go after her? Not right away. At first, I hoped she would calm down. But then Lauren called and said Alex was going there too. He was furious, threatening to expose us all. And you decided to protect your empire at all costs? No. Carson slammed his fist on the table. I went to protect Emma from Alex. When I arrived, Emma was alive, but Alex had already left. She was sitting on a bench crying. What happened next? She showed me the documents she had copied. She said she was going to go to the prosecutor's office, that the company had to answer for the deaths of those people. Carson's voice trembled. I begged her to think about the consequences. about the thousands of employees, about Lauren and Alex. But she was adamant, just like her mother. And then you decided to stop her. I didn't plan it. We went deeper into the woods, still arguing. There was a shovel lying by the trail. Emma turned around and said I was a monster, that she was ashamed to be my daughter. And then she said that maybe she wasn't my daughter, but David's child, that she would take a DNA test and expose me publicly. And then Carson covered his face with his hands. I don't remember exactly how it happened. I only remember holding the shovel, and then Emma was lying on the ground, and there was blood everywhere. So much blood. You struck her multiple times in the head. I didn't mean to. I swear I didn't mean to kill my girl. It was like a blur. What did you do after that? I dragged her deeper into the woods and hid the body. I went back home, and then I realized Alex had been there before me, that he could be blamed. And that suited you. Carson lowered his eyes. Yes. I thought it was better him than me. I even kept the bloody clothes to plant in his house. All my life I've manipulated people, Carson admitted. I made them do what was good for me, and when I lost control, I was willing to do anything to get it back, including murdering my daughter. I would give anything to have that moment back, he whispered. All the wealth, all the power, just to see her alive. The trial of Michael Carson became one of the most high-profile trials in Massachusetts history. In addition to first-degree murder, he was charged with falsifying clinical trial data, forgery, and fraud. Carson Pharmaceuticals was on the verge of bankruptcy, with the company's stock plummeting 95% after news of the Lazarus Project broke. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours before returning a verdict of guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced Carson to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In his final statement before the sentence was handed down, Carson addressed Alex, who was sitting in the courtroom. You are my only child now. I was never a real father to you, and that is my biggest mistake. I hope you can start a new life, free from my shadow and my sins. Lauren Hill received a suspended sentence for her involvement in financial fraud. Her cooperation with the investigation and remorse were mitigating circumstances. Alex Martinez was completely acquitted. His departure into the forest was explained by his search for Emma, but he left the reserve before Michael arrived. Detective Donovan personally apologized for making him the prime suspect. 6 months after the verdict, Alex sold the house where he had lived with Emma and moved to Seattle. His marriage to Emma was officially annulled posthumously due to their blood relationship. A small portion of Carson's estate, which was not confiscated as compensation for the victims of Lazarus, went to a charitable foundation created by Alex in Emma's memory. The foundation helped victims of unethical pharmaceutical trials and supported ethical research in medicine.